I think Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo is way better than the original. I'll admit, at first, I didn't even believe something like that was possible myself. But it turned out to be not only possible, but actually really fascinating. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. My goal is to reach 500 subscribers, and only you guys can help me get there. Thank you so much, and now let's get into this full breakdown. I remember reading the final chapters of JJK. It was a strange feeling. Not disappointment, exactly more like exhaustion. Like you'd been running a marathon only for the finish line to end up somewhere completely different from where you expected it to be. So many things happened that just felt oddly handled. And Yuji, the character, the story spent so much time building up and foreshadowing kind of gets lost in everything happening around him by the end. The series finished like someone who knew what they wanted to say, but didn't fully know how to say it. And then in September 2025, Modulo appeared. I honestly see this part as Akutami testing the waters for future sequels and a larger expansion of the universe. And that's actually a really good thing, because he's genuinely good at doing it in a high-quality way. 3 volumes, 25 chapters. When I first saw those numbers, my immediate thought was Akutami made a fanfic. Because we've all seen what usually happens when a popular universe gets expanded just for the sake of expansion and money. But Modulo operates on a completely different level. This time, Akutami worked together with artist Yuji Iwasaki, and honestly, that partnership changes everything. Because Akutami as a writer is a genius when it comes to concepts, but by the end of JJK, there were definitely moments where the artwork noticeably declined. Some of the fights in the later arcs became genuinely hard to follow. But in Modulo, every single domain expansion spread feels like its own piece of art. Carefully constructed composition. You're not just reading the fight anymore, you can actually see it clearly, and that difference matters. Modulo changes the central question of the story. JJK asked, how do you survive in a world of curses? Modulo asks, what do you do after surviving when now you have to learn how to live alongside people completely different from you? The Sumerians are an alien species capable of using cursed energy, and they don't arrive on Earth as Hollywood-style invaders. They're refugees. Their planet was destroyed. They were hunted, and the only language they ever managed to learn from their enemies was power. The diplomat Maru wants peace. The radicals Cross and Dabura want colonization. Both sides make sense, and both positions feel understandable. This isn't good versus evil, it's trauma versus hope. I caught myself rooting for both sides at the same time. The last time I felt that way was back during the 4th Shinobi War in Naruto. Paulo Freire once wrote, the oppressed instead of striving for liberation tend themselves to become oppressors. But Modulo takes that idea and turns it into the core conflict of the story. And honestly, that's infinitely deeper than Sukuna wants absolute freedom because he's Sukuna. Now let's talk about Yuji. Endlessly underrated Yuji Itadori, a character I always felt bad for. The original series had a problem that almost nobody wanted to admit. Yuji constantly lost focus in his own story. Not in terms of fights, but in terms of narrative weight. Gojo was flashier, Sukuna was more terrifying. Megumi got the final transformation. Yuji was thematically important, but sometimes you genuinely forgot this was supposed to be his story. In Modulo, he doesn't age, and he's outlived all of his friends. And this is where Akutami finally says what should have been said back in the original series. The loneliness of immortality isn't some superhero privilege, it's punishment. Yuji knows what it's like to watch everyone you love disappear one by one. He became the new Sukuna in terms of power, yet he still remained the same guy who cried over strangers during battles. That contradiction is what makes him feel like a real character. Technically speaking, his mastery over shrine and abilities, similar to Choso's, have reached a level that felt completely impossible in the original manga. And separately, I want to talk about the world of 2086 itself. This is honestly one of the smartest decisions in Modulo, and weirdly almost nobody talks about it. Cursed energy became an alternative energy source. Sounds cool, right? Because wherever there's a resource exploitation always follows. JJK was always about the price people pay for the adult world. Modulo shows that the price never disappeared. It's just listed differently now. Kusakabe and Gakuganji now lead a new system of jujutsu administration, more transparent, less cruel. The 3 great clans have collapsed. The structure JJK spent 15 years tearing apart has finally fallen. And in its place, something new is being built through Tsurugu and Yuka Okatsu, the grandchildren of Yuta. Now let's honestly talk about the ending, because I keep hearing this criticism and I actually want to address it properly. People keep saying the ending is too positive. JJK was a dark story, and now suddenly everybody hugs each other and makes peace. I get why people feel that way. After so many volumes filled with betrayal and brutal battles, a happy ending can feel almost alien, like the author got scared at the last second. But wait a minute, Maru uses his technique to eliminate the very cause behind the existence of curses themselves. Not just defeat the villain in one final battle, he destroys the mechanism that kept creating villains in the first place. That's not some magical one-page solution that fixes everything instantly. It's the result of decades of understanding and effort. Akutami isn't saying that Yuji's suffering, Gojo's suffering, and everyone else's pain were meaningless. He's saying the exact opposite. Everything they went through is precisely what made the ending possible. It's an earned ending, and that difference is huge. You know what honestly impresses me the most about Modulo? It's a story about how legacy matters more than victory. Gojo was the strongest, and Sukuna was the most terrifying. But neither of them changed the world the way Yuji did, simply by continuing to exist, continuing to believe, continuing to protect people. Not because he had no choice, but because he chose to. In that sense, Modulo isn't just a sequel to JJK. It's the answer to the series' biggest question: why keep fighting if everything is eventually going to fall apart anyway? The answer Akutami seems to give is this: so the next generation can fight for something different. So that by the year 2086, people no longer have to know the kind of pain Yuji once knew. The world didn't become perfect, it just became better. Maybe only a little better, but enough. And sometimes enough is what victory actually looks like. In my opinion, Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo is one of the best endings in modern shonen. It's tighter than the original, more honest with its themes, visually stronger, and yes, I absolutely believe it's emotionally richer too. That doesn't mean JJK is bad. It means Modulo became the best thing that grew out of it. And now, I want to hear from you guys, because I'm genuinely curious. Do you agree that a sequel can actually surpass the original, or do you think the original will always be untouchable? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There are a lot more interesting videos coming soon.